Joining us now is Michelle Malkin, host of Michelle Malkin Investigates right here on Newsmax TV. She is also the author of Open Borders, Inc., who is funding America's destruction. Great to see you again, Michelle.
Thanks for having me, John.
And congrats on the award. Blue Magazine has named you Woman of the Year, with former ICE Director Tom Homan as the Man of the Year. A lot of our friends were there at the ceremony last night. Bernard Carrick and John Cardillo from Newsmax TV also here was there last night. Why is it so important to you to support law enforcement?
Well, thank you, John. It was indeed an honor. The organizations that put on this incredible gala last night in New Jersey, including Brothers Before Others, an incredible charity that supports law enforcement, the families of law enforcement officers who gave their lives, a moment of silence which honors law enforcement officers' families who have lost their loved ones due to suicide, and of course Blue Magazine, which is the best law enforcement publication out there. It's important to me, John, for personal and professional reasons. I am the granddaughter of a police chief who came from a barrio in the Philippines, and so law and order has essentially been written into my DNA. But I launched my career in journalism in Los Angeles in the ashes of the riots, the aftermath of the LA riots as a result of the Rodney King incident. And the very first piece that I did was a look at that entire debacle through the eyes of law enforcement and making sure that the Simi Valley police officers, who had been so demonized by so much of the national press and the left, got a fair shake. And over the years, of course, we have had the enemy of the people, the mainstream liberal press, apply these false narratives about LEOs time and time again. We've had false allegations. We've had hate crime hoaxes manufactured by the likes of Al Sharpton, for example, and all the way up and through till 2019. Many false allegations led by race hustlers in the legal industry. And so I've spent my entire newspaper career, as well as the documentaries that I've done that are now being shown by Newsmax, defending the blue, because without law enforcement doing its jobs, putting their lives on the line, we don't have a First Amendment to exercise.
Now, you are in Boston. You were holding a Stand with ICE rally this weekend, but you were also supposed to give a speech. The problem is that speech has been canceled. You were dropped recently from the Young America Foundation's Speakers Bureau. You've been accused of supporting white supremacists and white nationalists and Holocaust deniers. What's really going on here, Michelle?
What's going on is that the Open Borders, Inc. special interests that I expose in my latest book, Open Borders Incorporated, Who's Funding America's Destruction, are up in arms that there are more and more people telling the truth about the sabotage that's going on and how it benefits the big business right and the identity politics left. We all know that because of demographics, this country is doomed until people finally stand up and talk about putting America first and not just paying lip service to it. And that means boots on the ground. I have an entire chapter in Open Borders, Inc. on all of the forces that are funding and supporting and promoting the abolish ICE thugs and the Antifa radicals out there. And it's not just the usual suspects. It's not just George Soros who has an interest in squelching the truth about how mass uncontrolled migration is ruining this country. It's also all of the people in the CEOs in Silicon Valley who benefit from cheap labor. They say that, quote unquote, diversity is our strength, but they really mean division. And whether we're talking about uniting behind law enforcement domestically and the Immigration and Custom Enforcement Service, what we need is unity behind the people who are putting their lives on the line. That's what these Stand with ICE rallies are for.
We've seen these leftist protests against college conservatives on campuses across the country. Ann Coulter this week at Berkeley, Art Laffer at Binghamton University in New York. It's bad enough that the left is attacking conservatives, refusing to allow differing viewpoints on campus. But I'm a big tent guy, Michelle, and it's concerning to see conservatives fighting with each other.
It is. And you know what happened to the Covington kids, right? It wasn't just the left that smeared these kids who were wearing their MAGA hats, smeared them as racists and xenophobes and haters. It was a lot of the never-Trumpers who jumped ugly on them as well, because they're threatened by ordinary Americans out there that support Trump's agenda of putting America first and putting American sovereignty first. We actually mean it, unlike all of the people who have been profiting by mouthing all of the platitudes and then stabbing American workers, citizens, and students in the back. And right now, this is the huge battle going on. There's a great symposium at American Greatness right now about what's going on these campuses and who's being unmasked, and I highly recommend it.
Well, look, one of the guys we're talking about here, I don't like what he says. We don't want to give him or some of his viewpoints any oxygen on this forum, and that's really what the internet is for. But I'm also a free speech advocate, and sometimes it's the odious speech, it's the speech that we don't like that needs protecting. Was that your point?
Yeah, I don't want them thrown under the bus, and that is why I've basically hurled myself into the middle of this debate. Not because it profits me somehow, but because I care about the future of our country. I've got a 19-year-old and a 16-year-old, and the idea that you've got people in power, elites, that live high on the hog in the Beltway, smugly calling these kids racist for their bravery and really, truly questioning authority and speaking truth to power, I'm not going to stand for it. And it's easy for me. A lot of people have said, oh, you're really brave, you're courageous. I'm risking nothing. It's these kids who are risking their futures and their lives speaking up.
Well, you've been attacked by plenty of conservatives for your viewpoints, but you don't seem too concerned about that, do you?
Yeah, and let me be clear. I'm talking about young students out there who are very, very well versed in immigration policy, in demographic, electoral, and cultural consequences. I do not condone violence. I do not condone hatred. What I condone is love of this country, and who I disavow are all of the disingenuous, duplicitous special interests out there who want to tar every last person out there speaking up as a racist or a xenophobe or an anti-Semite. I've had to deal with those labels my entire life, John, and I can stand up to I don't care. I don't care what people call me anymore because I have the courage of my convictions, and that's what I encourage all of these peaceful, law-abiding citizens and students out there to do as well. All we can do is speak the truth.
Well, no one should ever doubt your courage, Michelle, and you're never afraid to take on the haters. Now, if you're in Boston, get out to the Support ICE rally this weekend. Michelle will be there. And also make sure you get a copy of her great new book, Open Borders, Inc., available now, and catch her weekends here on Newsmax TV. Michelle, thanks so much. Great to see you.
Appreciate you, John.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for breaking news and give us a thumbs up. If you like this video, then share it with your friends. Remember, you can watch Newsmax TV live on YouTube. Newsmax TV, real news for real people.